Monday afternoon right now, and I'm going to go to pick something up real quick, and I got to catch to number 3 to go do it. Oh. Stay in the shade a little bit. So I realized in the last vlog, when I put the camera on me like this, you can't really hear me that well. You can only hear me when I'm talking directly into the microphone. So it looks like I can't really do one of those personal shots. But there you go. Hey. Let me see. What's going on? What's going on? What the hell is going on? You know, it seems like Nokia is doing really well with the phone sales. It's still not topping Android and iPhone, but it's that Windows Phone in itself is doing 4 times better than it did last year. So that's a good news. And for me, that's good news because I can now start talking about Windows Phone to a lot of my clients that I do have as a replacement for the phone they got, which, you know, I've always told my clients that Windows Phone works better with Microsoft Exchange. And since most of my clients don't even have Google Apps in their arsenal, it just seems more logical to go ahead and get a Windows Phone. But it also depends upon if they're app happy, or if they're more about the function of the phone. And the functionality of Windows Phone, in my opinion, is a lot better than any phone in the market. But, you know, you do have to admit, Android and iPhone has the most apps. You know, if you're very much into apps, then yeah, and I hate to say it, and I really hate to say this, really, because as you guys know, I'm not really a Showgirls sponsor. Hi. Very interesting. Okay, another sponsor there. Yeah, it's just iPhone and Android, they just don't, it doesn't really operate that well as far as I'm concerned. And, you know, if I had all the money in the world, of course I'll have a Galaxy Note, or not, no, because I don't want a phablet, but I'll have a Nexus 7 or Nexus 10, and I'll also have an iPad and Microsoft Surface Windows RT and Microsoft Surface Windows Pro. Most likely, I'll probably get a Windows RT for, you know, just for a regular pad, and then you know, just get a bitchin' ass desktop to do all my video editing. You know, that's what I really would do. I'm not really a Mac fan, so I don't see myself owning a Mac anytime soon, unless Microsoft goes out of business completely, and the only thing available is Apple. Of course, you have Linux and all that, but there's not a lot of software for Linux. And I think that's why a lot of people don't get Windows Phone, because it's like Linux. There's not a lot of applications that Linux can run. There really isn't. There are some applications out there, but not to the extent of what Final Edit Pro can do and Final Cut Edit, whatever the program's called, and definitely not compared to Sony Vegas on a Windows computer. On Linux, you're kind of stuck with limited software, and people use Linux. People are really into Linux, and they're not really concerned about apps. Just like my Windows, you know, when I get a Windows Phone, I'm not going to be that concerned about apps. I mean, I'll probably have like 10 or 20 of them, but it's not going to be my main concern, because the phone built in already, the stock on the phone already has everything I need. So there's really no need for me to purchase a any other phone, because if I get some other kind of phone, I had to alter it. Like iPhone and iPad, you have to alter it to make it work within your enterprise network. Whereas Windows Phone, there's not really much I have to do. There's not really much. I'm waiting for Microsoft to come up with Microsoft Dynamics CRM app so I can sell that to my client. And as I understand, they're going to come up with the app for iPhone as well as Windows Phone. I'm not sure. I didn't hear anything about Android, but I'm pretty much sure that they're going to do one for Android as well. But Office for iPad, it's still not released yet. Probably, that's right, because it's not, Office 2013 is not going to get released until next year. So even if you buy Microsoft Surface, anything like that, you're going to get the preview version, but you're going to be able to upgrade it once the final upgrade comes through. Once the Office 2013 is finally released for sale and all that. And now, one thing about Office, a lot of people are complaining that Microsoft Office 2013 on the Windows RT tablet does not operate within the Metro environment. It basically opens up the desktop, and then it opens up Office. And a lot of people are complaining about that because it's not in the Metro style. And one thing that I've seen, whenever you look at Microsoft videos that are produced by Microsoft themselves, when the former Windows team leader, he did demonstrations on YouTube. And you see that when they open Office, it opens in Metro. It doesn't go to desktop. And so they have the final release, or maybe a preliminary RT release on their computer. So I can imagine that sometime in the future when updates come out for Microsoft Surface, they're going to have updates for it, and they're going to come up with Office 2013 full release, because it's supposed to come with it automatically. It's supposed to come with it. So when you open Microsoft Word on a Windows RT tablet, it's going to open up in Metro. And it won't have the ability to go to desktop. And they may take away desktop altogether because you can't really install anything on desktop and in the Windows RT tablet. You need the Windows 8 Pro version in order to use the desktop version. So this is what I'm seeing, folks, and this is what a lot of people are complaining about, is that why did they release this with a preview version of Office? That's because Office 2013 is in preview mode. Okay, it's preview, but you get all the features within. And as far as I understand, Office 2013 is a really good product in itself already, even the preview version. So you're not getting some really buggy software. It just opens up in desktop on the Windows RT tablet. And people don't seem to understand that, really. They're thinking that they get the Surface and they're going to get everything, Well, here's the thing, too. Of every review on the internet, there's been more good reviews than there has been bad reviews. Chris Perillo is probably the only one that's given it a horrible review. He likes Windows 8, but he didn't like Microsoft Surface. And everybody's subject to their own opinion. I mean, really, everybody is subject to their own opinion. And he has every right to not like Microsoft Surface. He had a bad experience. He didn't like it. But there are a lot of people who are loving the Surface. Life in Design or Life Define or something like that. I'm sorry, I don't have the username correct. But they love their Surface, and they're continuing to talk about how much. Well, they're Microsoft fans. This is like I am. Naturally, Microsoft fans are going to like Surface no matter what. But they're talking about Surface like it's a really big deal. And man, if I had the ability to get one, I mean, I'm going to get one. But it sucks that well, that's besides the point. The thing is that a lot of good reviews, and there are not too many bad reviews about Surface on YouTube or any review sheets. The only bad review that I've seen is they talk about some lag, and they talk about the startup is not as quick as they advertise. Now, what I imagine is that that's going to come with upgrades. Eventually, Microsoft's going to do some upgrades throughout the year, and it's going to get better and better. And it's bound to happen like that. Don't think that iPhone had several issues when it first came out. Don't think that iPad had several issues before it came out. It had several issues, but they fixed it over time with upgrades. Apple is not a company that releases products that are perfect the first time around. That's not true at all. They have upgrades too. Okay. Now, I do admit though that Apple has a lower rate of mess ups than Microsoft has in the past. Hence, Windows 98 and Windows Vista. Which, I mean, to tell you the truth, folks, I had problems with Windows 98, but I didn't really have that many issues with Windows Vista. My Windows Vista experience was excellent. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. When I had my Windows Vista machine, I had it for 3 years, and I never had a problem with it. The problem came when the computer itself fried. I mean, it was a laptop. I took it to Iraq. It was so freaking hot and so dusty that when it came back and I took it to the shop, it had water inside the laptop. It sweated. You know, it sweat. And it took a lot for them to take it apart and clean up all that sweat and dust, and they didn't get it all. In fact, they had a note, and when they sent it back to me in the mail, stating that they weren't able to get all the dirt, and then it was like mud in the laptop. So it was bound to blow up eventually, and it did. About a year later, after it got fixed, the computer didn't work anymore, and it was just trash. But it wasn't the Windows operating system, it was hardware, because it was put to the test in Iraq. But that Windows Vista machine, that laptop, worked flawlessly. And I had no problems with it whatsoever. Now, that's my experience, but other people did have problems with Windows Vista. Now, I do admit, Windows 7 is incredibly 100%, 400% better than Windows Vista. On my Windows 7 machine now, it works way better than Windows Vista ever did. But I didn't have any problems with my Windows Vista machine. And if I still had that machine today, outside the fact that it has older technology, it had let me think. It had a Pentium 2 processor. I actually forgot what kind of processor. It had a Pentium, but I forgot which one. I don't remember, to tell you the truth. But it had a single-core Pentium 2 processor, I think, and it had 2 gigabytes of RAM, or 1 gigabyte. I don't remember. But it was a really good computer for the time, and it had an NVIDIA. No, it had an ATI video card in it. It was a good machine. It really was. And it worked flawlessly, and I had no problems with it. I'm waiting for the bus right now to get me to the store, as I told you before at the beginning of this particular video. But I'm just saying. I mean, people have their own experiences. I mean, some people had Vista and they hated it. They had a lot of problems with it. Some people had Windows 98 and they had that many problems with it. There were some people that did, like me. I had problems with Windows 98, and I had very few problems with Windows 95. And the only thing I remember from Windows 95 is that blue screen of death that I always got when I worked that machine. I did get a lot of blue screens of death with Windows 95, Windows 98. Very few with Windows Vista. It happened every once in 3 months. Like it was every once in a while. I mean, it wasn't that often. And then my Windows 7 machine, I don't have that many problems with it at all. And if it does freeze, it freezes for like 30 seconds and then unfreezes. Somehow it's able to get itself back together. Or it reboots Windows but doesn't close down any of my other software. So I think that's one of the great things about Windows 7 is that when it gets to a point where it can't operate anymore, it doesn't shut down all your other programs. It just shuts down Windows, and then Windows reloads. But the stuff that you're working on, like let's say you're working on an important video edit, and you have it saved, hit File Save or Control S in 15 minutes, but you made some really crucial edits. You don't have to worry about losing your stuff because it didn't crash. Now, if the program crashes, that's a whole different story, okay? Then hopefully you do get into a habit of hitting Control S like every second of your editing. Which I've gotten into a habit of doing with most stuff I worked on. Either one or two things, like Microsoft Word, you can set it to auto-save once a minute, which I like because I don't have to worry about it. I just tap away, and it saves, and it just keeps saving until I'm done. I love that feature. I think Sony Vegas has that feature too, which I want so bad. I want Sony Vegas so bad. $600, 600 bones, man. And I can do some editing that will blow people's minds. But it has an autosave feature. Now, VideoPad doesn't, or at least the free version doesn't. If the paid version does, that's great, but I don't have the paid version. And the paid version works great. I just have to remember to hit Control S every, 5 or 6 minutes in case the program crashes or something weird happens that messes up, while I'm working on it. And I have it in my SkyDrive folder. So every time I hit save, I see my SkyDrive folder kick in to say looking for changes. Then it says uploading, and then it stops. So even if my computer crashes and it crashes for good, my edits are saved. In fact, I'll tell you a story. My last vlog, I was actually editing that vlog on my work laptop. My work laptop was way better than my current laptop. And that's funny to say, but it was. I had to turn in my laptop, of course, when I got terminated, okay? So once I turned in my laptop, I was like, oh, damn, man. I'm still in the middle of editing this vlog, but I remembered that I saved it to my SkyDrive folder, and I made sure that it said up to date. It says up to date if everything is synchronized correctly. All my raw video files and all that was stored on the cloud. I didn't have to worry about it. And then on my current laptop, it synchronized all that, and I didn't have to worry about losing my stuff. All right, my bus is here, so peace out.